Welcome to Kit Katastrophe. My name is Kit, and today we'll be taking a look at Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Bumblebee. This figure came out in 2018 as part of Wave 1 of the Deluxe assortment. This figure is a heavy retool of the Last Night Bumblebee. Here we have the first of several Studio Series Bumblebees in vehicle mode, turning into his alternate mode from the 2007 film, a 1976 Chevrolet Camaro. The yellow plastic coupled with the yellow paint and black tachographs makes this vehicle mode look like it popped right off the screen. That is, if the vehicle mode featured the rust and damage marks that the actual vehicles sported in the movie. This doesn't bother me too much since I actually prefer the non-damaged paint job, and if you really want the screen-accurate rust, there's always the clunker Bumblebee redeco coming out a few waves down the line. The front bumper, the headlights, and grille, along with the rear bumper and tail lights, are all nicely picked out in delicious color. In certain lighting conditions, it's apparent that the yellow paint covering the clear plastic doors and side rear window sections don't quite match the yellow plastic, but most times it's hard to notice. Also, due to the sheer amount of stuff inside the vehicle mode, it's difficult for the roof to sit flush against the car mode. As far as accessories go, Bumblebee comes with his trademark arm blaster. That has no real use in vehicle mode. I would have liked it if it could plug in up top or on the hood or something just for some semblance of a battle mode or something, but as it is, its only place here is to peg in under the rear bumper for storage. How exciting. Speaking of exciting, the transformation is that in spades. It very heavily borrows from the traditional movie Bumblebee conversion scheme, but it refines it to a point where it's pretty damn fresh this time around. Do be careful about his right arm popping off every now and again, either at the elbow joint or at its connector peg. The legs transform in a way that's extremely satisfying to pull off. The overall amount of car top kibble is greatly reduced from previous iterations, and they managed to give him his smaller vestigial wings under his actual door wings. As far as Deluxe Class Bumblebees go, this robot mode is magnificent. He really captures the look of the on-screen model splendidly, opting for more chunky proportions than many of his other iterations. Like I mentioned during Transformation, this version is far more kibble-free than many other attempts at a deluxe Bumblebee, with only the hood and roof hanging off his back instead of the entire top of the car. Looking at you, Dark of the Moon! The legs integrate far more of his car mode, adding to the chunk factor. The only complaint I have is with his arms. They're just a smidge too spindly for my liking. If there's some way to make the forearm guards a bit more prominent, I would have preferred it. Ripping off Bumblebee's right forearm, you can replace it with his signature blaster weapon from the movie. It's exquisitely molded and painted in silver paint, although ironically it's a bit too fat for my liking. It probably only looks that way since it's juxtaposed with his spindly left arm. Ironically, Bumblebee never used his arm cannon in this form. It's still a really fun bonus to have. Articulation on this figure is really good. He's loaded with every necessary joint you could imagine, with ball-jointed head, shoulders, and legs, swivels at the biceps, thighs, and waist, and good bends at the elbows and knees, with a little wrist hinge thrown in. Sadly, there's no ankle pivot, but the feet are indeed sculpted to make a good A stance, like most modern Transformers, and they can move forward and backward. While articulation may be fine, posability is a bit hampered by somewhat loose joints. His right shoulder ball joint is ridiculously loose, meaning he can only point his weapon in very specific directions if you want him to hold the pose. Also, his feet assemblies don't actually peg together all too solidly, and with the lack of a decent heel, makes him prone to falling over in certain poses. Fortunately, he is compatible with a Bandai Tamashii Nations Act 5 stand, so falling over is less of an issue. Speaking of stands, his last accessory is a display stand titled Police Chase. This stage depicts the environment in which he fought Barricade in the 2007 movie. It's a neat little bonus, but I don't display my Studio Series figures on their stands anyway, so it's not much of a selling point to me. I always appreciate options, though. Studio Series Bumblebee is a really good figure. Despite his obvious oversaturation of most of Hasbro's modern Transformers lines, this was a really great way to open the Studio Series line. He pulls off a screen-accurate vehicle mode, does its best to pull off a screen-accurate robot mode, has a fun and intricate transformation, and sports a couple of appreciable play features. Oh, and did I mention that Studio Series is meant to be the first retail line to feature scale? So you can bet we'll be taking a look at that over the next few reviews. This has been Kit Katastrophe, and it's time for me to transform and roll out.